Now, a group of artists and creatives, known as Abahlali baseNAC, announced on Friday afternoon that they were ending the protest following an announcement by Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane on Wednesday that her office would now mediate in the tensions between the artists, the NAC, and the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. The group has been demanding transparency in the dispersing of a 300 million rand presidential employment stimulus program.
An institution, we would want to make sure that we bring the parties together and there's full transparency from the NAC so that they can avail the list and who has been paid how much and which companies and which projects benefited. So that's our responsibility. So we will be arranging a meeting very soon to bring the parties together.
Right, we continue with the story, joined now by opera singer and activist Sibongile Mngoma, as well as President of Action SA, Herman Mashaba. Very good morning to you both. Thank you for waking up with us on the AM edition of Newsfeed. Let me start with you, Sibongile. You met with the Public Protector after almost a 2-month sit-in at the National Arts Council, with your demands essentially falling on deaf ears and you not budging, not willing to back down on some answers when it comes to how this 300 million rand was dispersed. Talk to us about how you're feeling now that some headway is being made.
You know, the one thing I'll tell you about artists in this country, and I don't mean celebrities, I mean artists, is that artists feel that they are not seen or heard or acknowledged. So when you go through a full 12 months of not being able to work, not because you don't want to, but because you're not allowed to, and the president announces the stimulus package, employment stimulus package, and it's not dispersed properly. And when you call out the people who are supposed to disperse it, and they turn and act all arrogant and they refuse to engage on where the money is and how it has been used when it's not getting to the artists, it becomes critical to say, we don't care who you think you are or how important you think you are. Artists' lives also matter. Artists also matter. And you will hear us, no matter what it takes, no matter what we need to do to be heard, to be seen, to be acknowledged. And right now, with the involvement of the Public Protector in our efforts to engage with the NAC, it feels like finally somebody has chosen to hear us and see us. And it feels like we are making headway. It's just the beginning, but it feels like we've taken at least one step forward.
Mr. Mashaba, let me bring you into the conversation here. You have, played a role in terms of helping the artists by ensuring that they have access to legal services without paying for those services. Talk to us about your involvement and why you saw it important.
Yes, good morning, and good morning to the listeners. I think it's a really very sad state of affairs for South Africa to be doing what they've done to our artistic industry. I think you remember when the president announced the stimulus package, that 500 billion rands, where people don't know where it is. The artists were promised the 300 million rands. So when I was approached for my intervention, as always, unfortunately, I'm not in government. The only assistance or the only intervention I can provide to them is as legal services. And I have a team of Mukabela Huntley, who have really proven to me to be great human rights lawyers, and I've made them available to the artists to use them as and when they require. They don't have to really pay for this, and because I really admire the way they approach this particular matter. Instead of going out burning streets, burning tires, burning our infrastructure clinics, they decided to really do a sit-in. And unfortunately, with the government now coming out with eviction orders. Our lawyers felt, you know what, the artists, you've achieved what you've achieved. We will handle this matter on your behalf. Hopefully now we see the public protectors come on board. We will really hope that sense can prevail with our government to treat our artists with the respect they deserve.
And Sibongile, you are using the legal services. How exactly will they be beneficial to your cause and your fight?
Well, let's be truthful and say that artists would not have been able to afford lawyers in this fight. And when the state uses or when state institutions use state organs to fight artists who cannot pay for lawyers, then basically they're saying they are not prepared to engage you at your level, but they are prepared to bully you with whatever means available to them. So when we are offered the same type of financial muscle to come in with lawyers who can essentially take them on at that level, then we would be silly not to take advantage of that. We would be silly not to be grateful and say thank you for providing a service that we actually cannot afford. So for us, it's good that now we have lawyers who can fight this fight and take it to its logical conclusion, because essentially we don't want to just fight with the state because now they're sending red ads or this and that, is because now they're getting eviction orders. What we want is to be able to fight for the right of the artist to get what is theirs. I mean, this stimulus package is not something that was not already offered to the artists. And artists didn't ask for it. The president offered. And now the artists are saying, this was given for us, and we would like it to be used for us. It should not be another looting scheme, which we know that the NAC usually does that. So the lawyers will assist the process of ensuring that the mess stops now.
And very lastly, Mr. Mashaba, before we let both of you go, what was your reaction as you watched the story from the outside? 300 million rand set out to help artists during a tricky time of COVID-19 where they cannot work, yet the funds have not reached the people they're meant to benefit.
I think it really breaks one's heart. As you are aware, this whole mess started hardly a few weeks after the announcement of this 500 billion rand stimulus package, starting actually in the president's office. Remember, that's where it started. And it's really been a free-for-all. Our communities out there who live in really very deplorable conditions, not getting food parcels being given to politically connected people. It's actually quite sad, where the municipalities, they give tenders, PPE tenders to go and sanitize buildings which are empty and so forth, with prices inflated. But in the meantime, look at we've got our artists in our artistic industry where they've been promised, as we've heard, they did not ask. The president offered this intervention. I don't know whether it was just a PR exercise, but at the end of the day, our lawyers are going to ensure that we find out, we go deep into this matter to understand where this 300 million rands went. Because if it was allocated, then the government has got the responsibility, and we are going to compel them to really share with us where the 300 million rands went.
You've been very vocal when it comes to corruption and anti-corruption and making a very bold stand in that space. What do you think could have gone wrong in this one?
I think, honestly, for me, I feel embarrassed as a South African, and this matter has been going on for some time. It's actually the reason I'm sitting today as a public representative, as a politician, something that I never thought I would really do. But unfortunately, the level of corruption in South Africa, for South Africa today to be known as the most corrupt country in the world in just 27 years, is an indictment on all of us. And I was not really prepared to sit back and watch this country being destroyed by corrupt politicians. So we're going to take them on. We're going to put our bodies on the line to ensure that we work within the constitutional framework, within the law, in holding them accountable, so that one day that this country we can be proud again.
Very well. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. Thank you so much for your time, Sibongile Mngoma, musician and artist, as well as Herman Mashaba, Action SA president, talking about the interventions at the NAC sit-in. The public protector, Busisiwe Mkhwebane, has also since put in her weight behind this matter, trying to find some sort of clarity and resolving the impasse.